Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the topic thyristor. It is very important device of power electronics. So let's get started. Thyristor is mainly 4-layer 3-junction device. Here the 4 layers are prepared by connecting the p-type and n-type semiconductor alternately. Here p is the first layer, n is the second layer, p is the again third layer and n is the fourth layer. Due to this 4 layer, there are 3 junction prepared, J1, J2 and J3. There are 3 junctions. So we can say the thyristor is a 4 layer 3 junction device. This is the symbol of thyristor. It has 3 terminals, anode, cathode and gate. And this is the actual view of the thyristor. Here also 3 terminals are bring out from this. These are anode, cathode and gate, and here one hole is also provided to install this thyristor on the PCB. Let's discuss the few basic information of the thyristor. First, as I told you, it is 4-layer 3-junction semiconductor device. The word thyristor is derived from thyratron and transistor. We take the word THYR from the thyratron and ISTOR from the transistor, which makes the word thyristor. This means the thyristor is a solid state device like a transistor and has a characteristic similar to a thyratron tube. Thyratron tubes were earlier used by in the circuits because the thyratron tubes possess anode terminal, cathode terminal and middle one is the grid, and all this construction is enclosed in a vacuum tubes. So in earlier days the work of the rectification or this device in size wise it is very big, but after the invention of the semiconductor like silicon and germanium, the device, the size of the device is compact, and now we are not using the vacuum tube. Now we are using the semiconductor device, p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor. Sometimes thyristor is also synonym of silicon controlled rectifier. Short form we say it SCR, silicon controlled rectifier. But SCR is the member of thyristor family. Actually there are so many devices which comes under the thyristor family, and SCR is the main member of the thyristor family. So sometimes we use the word SCR instead of thyristor. So what is the meaning of silicon controlled rectifier? Silicon means the thyristor or SCR is made up of silicon material. It is a controlled rectifier. It is providing the rectifier which converts the AC into DC, and it provide the controlled rectification. See here few waveforms are shown. This is the gate signal which we provide at the gate terminal of the thyristor. If we give the signal to this point of this is the input waveform. For this input waveform, if we apply the gate signal here, it starts conducting from 0 itself. So we get the waveform in positive half and in another positive half and only in positive halves. Means we are getting the waveform only in the for the positive halves, because thyristor conducts only in forward bias. It is not conducting in the reverse bias. Okay, if I apply the gate signal at this point, see, this is the gate signal we applied at this point. Let us consider this is a alpha is equal to or omega t is equal to 30 degree. If we apply at 30 degree a gate signal, the thyristor will start conducting from this point. So we get the output only from this 30 degree to 180 degree. Similarly, if I want only the output in this portion only, so if I apply the gate signal at this point, let us consider this is a omega it is equal to 150 degree. So if I apply the gate signal at 150 degree, I get the output only this much. From this 0 to 150, I will not get any output. So by giving the gate signal of a proper magnitude at a proper time or at any angle of the omega t, we can turn on the thyristor at any stage of the input wave of the circuit. Okay, that's why the SCR is called the controlled rectification, because it is providing us a controlled rectification. Thyristor can handle very high voltage and high current through it. That's why it can be used in the transmission system, distribution system, and for the large value for rectifier circuits and inverter circuit. And it alternately n-type or p-type material, for example p and pn, we make the thyristor by using the combination of this. This operation we cannot get from the diode, because diode gives the uncontrolled rectification. It is also providing us the rectification, but it does not give the controlled rectification. If we connect the diode instead of thyristor, we get the whole output waveform from 0 to 180 degree. But the control terminal here, the control terminal is gate terminal through which we can always give the thyristor for a particular angle, and the gate terminal is always attached to the p-type material near to the cathode. It is provided near to the cathode terminal in the p layer. The operation of the thyristor can be divided into four parts: reverse blocking mode, reverse conduction mode, forward blocking mode, and forward conduction mode. The operation of the thyristor we can understand by the VI characteristic of the thyristor. This is the VI characteristic of the thyristor. Here the voltage is on the x-axis and current is at the y-axis. This is the anode voltage and this is the anode current. The operation of the thyristor we have divided into four parts. First is the reverse blocking mode. The reverse characteristic shown in this portion of the characteristic, and the forward conduction or the forward blocking mode is shown in this portion of the characteristic. So reverse blocking mode, when we connect the thyristor into a reverse bias. As we studied in earlier classes, what do you mean by the reverse bias? Reverse bias means when we connect the p-type material to the negative terminal of the battery and the n-type material is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. When we connect it like this, the thyristor or a diode is said it is in the reverse bias. So when we connect the thyristor into reverse bias and we apply the reverse voltage across the thyristor, no conduction would take place. Only a small leakage current, this is the reverse leakage current, which is due to the minority carriers, and only reverse leakage current is flow through the thyristor, but thyristor is not in the conducting mode. And what is the main criteria to make the thyristor into conducting mode is to break down all the junctions. When all the junctions, in earlier slide I have told you there are three junctions, J1, J2 and J3. When these three junctions break down, the thyristor will get into the turn on process or on state. So what happened in this reverse blocking mode? Thyristor is connected in the reverse bias, but there is no conduction through the thyristor. From O to this VBR, VBR is the reverse breakover voltage. So from this O to this VBR, no conduction, nothing will take place in the thyristor, but we are increasing slowly this voltage in negative direction. But at this point, the reverse avalanche is take place, which is called the reverse conduction mode, and in PQ region, the thyristor reverse avalanche take place and the current increases abruptly, which can damage the thyristor, which can burn out junctions. So we never operate the thyristor in the reverse bias. Okay, so we can say the thyristor is a unidirectional device. It can operate only in the forward conduction mode or in forward bias. Now let's see the forward characteristic. Forward characteristic we obtain when we connect the thyristor into forward bias. Forward bias means when we connect the p-type material to the positive terminal of the battery and n-type material is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. This is called the forward biasing. And in the forward bias, when we connect the thyristor in forward bias, but but from this portion to this portion, means we can say this O to M, no conduction take place. We are slowly increasing the forward voltage across the thyristor, but thyristor is not conducting. Thyristor is in blocking mode. So this mode from O to M is called the forward blocking mode, means thyristor is although connected in the forward bias, but there is no conduction in the thyristor, only a small value of forward leakage current would flow. As we increases this forward voltage up to this VBO, VBO is the forward breakover voltage. When we increases the voltage up to this VBO, thyristor will turn into the on state. And as the thyristor turned on, the characteristic quickly switches to this point N and starts conduction. Conduction will start and current will increases linearly. And NK, this is the NK portion, and it shows the forward conduction mode or on state of the thyristor. So we can say the thyristor is act as a switch which has only two states, either on or either off. So here some more points you can see here. IG1, IG2, IG3 are shown here. If this is the breakover voltage, at this point Ig is 0. What is Ig? Ig is gate current. If we are not applying any current, any voltage across the gate terminal at this time, to make the thyristor in on position, we have to increase the voltage up to the VBO. But if I apply a signal or a small current across the cathode to gate terminal, the thyristor would turn on at this point only. Means we have to not increase the forward voltage up to this VBO. Before this VBO, thyristor gets turned on and the characteristic would be like this. If I increase again IG3, IG2 at IG2, which is the greater than the IG3, so at this point IG2, if I increase the gate current more, so thyristor will get turned on this position and we get the characteristic like this. If I again increase the gate current more, then I get the turn on characteristic like this. Means if we apply the gate current or if we increase, as we increases the gate current, the thyristor will get turned on before the VBO point. For making the thyristor making the thyristor on position, we no need to increase the voltage, anode voltage up to the VBO. Only a small voltage is required across the anode to cathode, and a small gate current is required across the gate to cathode terminal. You can see you can see the latching current or holding current also is shown in this characteristic. So what is latching current? Latching current is the current which we introduce or which we define at the turn on process of the thyristor. When we turn on the thyristor, the control of the gate is lost. We no need the gate signal across the thyristor if the thyristor moved from off state to on state. I mean to say, if I am increasing the anode current slowly across the thyristor, there is a one point where thyristor turned on with the combination of gate current. So thyristor will turn on at a particular point, and this point is called the latching current. If after this point means after the latching current, when we thyristor attain a particular level of current and we remove the gate signal, thyristor will maintain its on position after the removal of the gate current. This current is known as a latching current. So this is the minimum anode current which is required to maintain the on state of the thyristor after removal of the gate current. So latching current is the current which is associated with the turn on process of the thyristor, and by possessing this current, thyristor latched from off state to on state. And once the thyristor possesses the on state, after this gate loses its control. If you remove the gate signal, thyristor, the on position it maintained. But if you want to turn off the thyristor, what will we do? For turn off the thyristor, we will reduce the anode current up to a certain level. And after this current, thyristor will get turned off. So holding current comes into picture. Holding current is the current which holds the thyristor into on position, and if you reduce the current below the holding current, thyristor will turn off. So this is the minimum anode current which is required at the time of turn off. So latching current is associated with the on process and holding current is associated with the off process of the thyristor. And if practically we can see the latching current is always greater than the holding current. Thank you.